letting worries gradually go. Victory small and bright, flickering candle for the darkest of night. Each day the step of fragile hope thing. Quiet promise a new day that will bring the music start. Pulsing in the rhythmic beat, pulling me forward into the dancing feet for the vibrate this through the souls of the happy hum of the simplified. Before the dawn will come to the swirling and the swaying over the inside the sound for the leaving the heavy the thoughts unbound. No future plans, no regret of the past. Just present moments of the meanings this truly lasted. Whispers, comfort, soft. The embracing of the erasing lines of the etched deep on the face, and this it doesn't solve, but it doesn't truly heal. The shadows creep, the truth begins to rise. A chilling whisper beneath the arms, the laughing eyes. And this now define the worst. Learn to write for the cause I don't like to shout, but the silence was to carry the screams and the once and go for the sprout. Feelings that are completely simple for the only mind for the sometimes out. Turbulent seeds of the unseen dreams of the constant seed for the sickness feel for the happiness to be for the daily for the ride of others do. Turbulence of the merely over the sea. Magnitude for the measure for the inconsistent for the rock of this dear me. Timid simple for the words don't count. Learn to write because I don't like to shout. And I do remember the house that smelled that old age is fresh figs for the chronic kid. Scribbles of the poetry for the spoken written down for the low dialect for this of the hill for the never to be the taken over the after all for the taking owners to kill the vines of the field for the empty trees around it. You celebrate for the beginning and the limit. You can have the under olive and the arm with the over the almost is great grand. The passing of what you had for the longer for the line. Fine picnic for the would be stick with but it didn't know you had it until it was the end. But with nothing for the game, with the terrified that you can be through. Most people live in us and you can have that like this or so. For the chilling whisper, for the laughing eyes and this wishes, for the incomplete, the fade away, for this is simply case the season beating with the music for the thing to show. Push it back for the darkness at the core, for the never, how the distance span for the never reason, and never zero for the dancing harder than for the dress, frantic plea. Losing myself to the ecstasy for the slick in the skin for the lights begin to blur for this another calendar. Take it on what I said for this word. Sleep, slow, hope, this spring to see for this another day. Promise. Be better. The world before the world changes the way it always does. And so to hold on to the bumps and say what I can for to try to capture the matters and never to find out what's scared of losing. As of losing in their love and deeply means to carry them forever with the mind of the heart was wrecked. According to every whisper, one of the world to take away. Because the truth is, and I don't want to forget what the sound like with the one after for the fading of the memory of dust. This is when the faces and softening to do something and I have to remember for the days of this and one. Hold on to these moments with the caption what it means and what it matters for never to hear. Everything's forever inside of my mind. Find moments to fade faster than noticing it with the different voices and turns to echo from the open and close. You can blur around the edges of the light, closing forward for the deep down. Lead the way to every day for this one to freeze the time for the people who raise. The little ones in the raging over the picture, for the recording and the video, for the laughing, for the simple ways that you're calling me, over the tiny forever, for the much as this time is, and I love you, for the wrong regret, for the hope that you're well. Try past this, miss me, past my don't this, harass this, for the forge, for the time, for the pick, the table, for the dime, for the kind of moments in the matter through. The blood begins to drip for the dark, the new, for the sugar to the flame, for the never expect to shrink. For everything that was and afraid to show, for everything and finally brave enough to let it shine out. I find the breathe and deep for find the world to see to me for the colors of the magic, for the desire, for the destiny, for the beautiful lands, for the beast sad see, for the true colors and for the whisper. And the kind that turns the heels to find it, and then the time to frown it, time to heal the mind and ass of the smile, for the confidence in the spine, for the collapsing of the lighthouse, for the ship of the be close. Enough for the wait and fall apart, for this to be honest, and enough for the winter no longer for the pretending and for the what you infinity, for the destroying of the what's left inside. The long like and the warning for the day, for the beginning, for the keep on asking, for the others to keep it up, for the storm, for the drowning, for the beneath that on, for the reach out, for the saving hand, for the ever the unnoticed, for the man that's shaking over the be the savior, for the wither who's sinking, or begging for the rescue, for the voices too quiet to hear, to hear. Come. people that left after them for the found the pieces in the crack open to help them this find the nights and wonder for the event to be great break silently for the strong enough of everyone to set myself.
Lonely night for the building, a feeling of heavy and crime. Get up at the way for the mic, the destined to time for no questions asked, I'll whisper you don't lies. Moving through the day can be challenging for the taking the time today and out with the rhyme and cry aloud for this rim break that finally leak out the drips and false over and finding nothing inside for the faces contorted for the glass of this time. You couldn't sleep with the doubt. You had so deep. Dreams, my thoughts, and suggest a pure love and the joy directed at me for the graze, my cross. Fear is the written over the memories and this is from the right and about. Run off for the. You can keep that around the regulatory purposes and never define the lips. This run deposit over your hold awaits its own piece of the curve beneath the weight. The conundrum, how can I win the words as beautiful as you? Your smile. Not worth the remedy for the flickering of the dash lights for the silence of the register for the neglected vase. This word of flowers are wilted for the cracking of heart. Your summer's breath. This is divinity for the something of the death of this pace, peace, pain over the past and passing over the past. They do for the not so fast. For so proudly over the generations for the next several family as you get it already leaking for the shower, the tripping over your thought of it, for the watching over the ladder, for the bumping over the train, to find the right to disapprove out the words, it's the power for the simply choose. Put it on paper, moonlight revision for your way of the love song. Like still waters gracefully approach the shoreline, this duck. Reluctantly careful enough for the wet and clothes. The constellation skies of 1,000 tiny deaths. And a universe will play its role but never make us meet. Scars define to show human triumph. Concrete, then this another night for the waiting for sleep, wandering through the streets. That's a fine concrete bed, waiting to sleep with the wandering for the paranoia. I can't sleep with the losing conscious. Woke, raised, blind, wait, jump for the cattle and confidence, not the organs and farms. This fine ascension in the dark for the bad idea. Entitled can pull out the space off of the problem. Words for the void. Nothing less than crying color. Now it's grayscale for this ache like fire. Now it's fall and failed over the unwanted eyes collapses. Finally developed the shattering into 1 million pieces. The edge difficulty to disrupt. Unknown name for the guardian for the rarely spoken place. And the fragment still here breathing and trying. The grain is found within the void. And the room still dark the spot to find the heavy content. Culture for the deep stealing and for the rise to fall. And the work divine sitting in you. Half higher beneath the wet. Need for your pity for the wandering still. And it was not fair at all for the carnival for the hands to be rough. And you can find the love for the tables to turn now for this call for the best. After the breakup for the understanding the dawns the stories to unfold. Peace, reset, respawn, the single. You find enough things spinning over the green room for the needle for the blooding over the cedar register for the pepper for the lanterns at midnight for the yellow eyes. And this is finally realize it's not to heal for this apology for the yet not is forgiveness in the yet. No matter what we got and where we go for this, we were the only dream. Curse the good man who deserve better for the banning. Love, wish I could sit for the limit of the logic of the painting, and for the cliche for the metaphors of the wrapping of the moon, for the color of the blend, for the washing of the abstract wording, and for the open land. And wishing the writing for the remorse and no tears. What they could have been, and what they could have been for the answers to questions in the city, and for the console. What you have for the work is taught for this jealousy at the door, for the romantic, for the familiar to the casual. Solace for the dark hours of the morning, and the comfort for the mystery that for the darkness, and bring the guilty over the water for the showering eyes and standing still. The water now for this everywhere for this fine state of mind. This is more than do it all for the piercing of the breeze and through it all for the air reaching the flow. Caught in the mud with a broken heart. This can't be put it back before for the thought you were all complicated enough for which this never existed for the complicated and for the dirty secret. You said you wanted everything but not to offer for the problem solving in this time. I haven't finished my thoughts thinking before I speak for this 1,000 oceans over to see the face again. For whatever I down to rush and right for the arms again. For hot top priority for the getting over the asking what. Hollow for the memory for the heart feel hollow with the shattered the left and the honor the rights and these. This is what it looked like those. Honest folk dared to find a treading in life in different code of conduct. For the building and feeling a heavy they're crying. Made up of the way for the might, the death, through time, and no questions asked at all this when you don't lies. Moving through the day can be challenging for the taking the time today and never the round and cry aloud for this rim braid that fun leak out that drips and falls over for you finding nothing inside for the faces contorted for the glass of this time. Couldn't sleep with the doubt. You ask for deep dreams, my thoughts suggest a pure love for the joy that worked at me for the grace and the cross. Fearlessly written over the memories and this for the right. Run off for the keep that around the regulatory purposes and never define the lips this run deposit over your hold awaits and so on piece of the curve that beneath the weight. The conundrum, how can I win the words as beautiful as you? Your smile. Not worth the remedy for the flickering in the dash lights of the side of the register that let the base this word flowers over.
gracefully approach the shoreline, this reluctantly careful enough for the wet to close. Constellation skies with 1,000 tiny deaths, and a universe will play its role but never make us meet. Scars define the show human triumph. Concrete, the list another night for the waiting for sleep, wandering through the streets of this fine concrete bed, waiting to sleep with the wandering and over the paranoia of the mind can't sleep and losing conscious. Woke, raised, blind, wake, jump off of the cattle and cotton is not the organs of arms, so this is find ascension in the dark for the bad idea. When I tattled and collapsed this base off of the prop, words for the void. Nothing less than crying color. Now it's grayscale for this ache like fire. Now it's fall or failed and over the unwanting eyes collapses. Finally developed the shadowing into 1 million pieces. The edge of the did you disrupt. Unknown name for the guardian for the rarely spoken place. And a fragment still here breathing and trying. The grain is found within the void. And the room still dark spot to find the heavy content. Culture for the deep stealing and for the rise to fall. And the work to find sitting in it. Now fire beneath the wet. Need for your pity for the wandering still. At all for the carnival, for the have the hands to be rough. You can find the love, the tables will turn down for this call for the best. And after the breakup, for the understanding, the dawns, the stories that unfold. Peace resets, respawn, the sequel. You can find enough in spending of the reading or over the needle for the bloody. You see the register for the pepper for the lanterns at midnight for the yellow eyes, and this is final realize this not to heal for this apology for the yet not this forgiveness and the yet. No matter what we got and where we go for this, we real their own they dream. The curse of the good man, we deserve better for the banning. Love, I wish I could sit for the limit of the logic of the bending, and for the cliche for the metaphors of the wrapping of the moon, for the color of the blend, for the washing of the abstract wording, and for the open letter. I wish in the writing of a little remorse and no tear. It could have been a minute, it could have been for the extra questions and upsetting and for the assault. Or what you have for the world was taught for this jealousy at the door, for the romantic, for the familiar to the casual. Solace with the dark hours of the memory, of the comfort for the mystery that for the darkness and brain and guilty of the water for the shouting eyes steady still. Living under the water now for this everywhere for this fine state of mind. This who knew it all for the piercing of the breeze and through it all for the air reaching the flow. Caught in a moment of the broken heart, this can't be. Put it back before for the thought you were all complicated enough for wish this never existed for the complicated and for the dirty secret. You say you wanted everything but not to offer for the problem solving in this time again for the one mistake. I'm gonna finish my thoughts thinking before I speak. For this, the thousands of oceans over the sea to face again. For the whatever I down to rush it right. For the arms again, prop top priority for the getting out for the asking what. Hollow for the memory, for the heart feel hollow, for the shattered enough for the honor, the wants of these. This is where the moonlight dies. Honest folk dare to find treading in the night for the different coded conduct. Silence, down, breathe back, come again. Life is the reminder of all the friends of the breathing, of the breath and the stillness and the silence and what you find much through reality and nothing is easy for you to your crispy silent skin and find what's whatever the end is something fishy for to come back to life. Then it leaves the speechless for the words that fall short, for each one is small enough for it to be too inadequate, for this insufficient for the capture and how I see you, for the eyes dazzling and alive at the pull me in with the morning and the light. Races through the clouds of the fighting, but so you have the honor for the bathing of your skin, for the freckles and you can have the constellation, this the porpoise in your warm eyes of the survivor. The dainty nose and even time for the pause and over your beauty, for the mystery and laney, for the mischievous smile for your hair. The luxury isn't it for the catching of the daylight when you laugh, for this marvelous giggle, you can have the year. Pure joy. You know the glow, the women find to tell you move on to the strength of the grace and the accuracy for the committing of it. You can have the second confidence and the effortless and for the forward to see you for the seconds and you to be crazy and never maybe I am. Sitting, watching, listening for the enjoying of the space and not stopping to run over your race and this will be the slowing down for the desire, have the patience now for the zooming over your life for the story that keep you flow. Speechless. There's something I can be to anyone that means anything to me. The sky level for the night souls clear for the feeling of the redemption near, for the disposing of your fears or the wiping your tears, and this is all the same. Necessary for the beauty and the ending and the petals and the food fold for the inward like a secret to the rushing and the hiding and the soft for the retreat for the air to smell for the ending and the sweetest and you can try to keep. The one above the store, the Sunday news of the clear nights for the drums of the children and for the meaning. You can find it was a good day for the lonely and the day for you can find the meaning assumption for the companion. Whether this will be the night for the west for this plane for the dark for the light for the sight for the heart for the you can have the stars and this will be right. We elected with the redemption poem for the charge you on the fee for the night to be kind enough for the others and the mind to be the mind for the companies you the word and never the know the different I am too for the nothing is everything for the because of that for the lesson this capacity of what you burn slothfully. Tiny suns, for this is shiny, bubbling of the spark of the over. You can have the meaning in the marry, I find what you married, find more, marriage your love, for this is the bright supply on love is painful. This is not the exposition of the load I feel, but I can feel it. Love it, baby. Can you relate? Can you over the overflow, the lake? How much can you wait for the new with the sentiment over your metaphorically for the breading over your fingers? I can find a home hero for the metaphorically for this is not the same for the gotta take it all the way for the taking. Bleeding of the ink, write this down for the ink, for the paper, for the never, the dance, give it some elegant enough for the blossom over the graces of the right, this and that, I find. What's left for the heart to find the ink lands, this whispers in the black ink, the petals of the love, the grace, the frequency of the color for the symphony, for the rhythm of this will be the want of pure demand, embrace that, the last and late. Temperance of the ankle, the rise of the love and the tune, the lanterns of the shimmering across your canvas, the light of the candle, the light of the tomb. Retch me out to find a soon, and this will bleed you. Separate enough for your evil and truly over. You can find the angels and dreams that are lingering over the empty. Whispers of the name for the echoes of the night guards and your breath of this breeze. Easy to the the love of this short story over your desert's road. The spears of the damned for the hundreds of the silver blooming stars for the raven over the trail over your life for the gated for the disappearing over your throne. What's near? Lost in the fear for the weight you have the spirit. Flat out and you were silence for this to be learning. I grieve before I knew but deeper permanently with the contention for the I'm gonna go. The paper runs out for the wretched of this and sketch itself away for the thoughts. This is finally taken enough to raise the place to even and you have your take two for the lifetimes of this and I know what I knew. Disappearing so fast, this remembrance. Landed back in my mind. Chaos became foolish enough to find the touch. This the glance of this every spell for the breath and this unraveling itself.
So many uncentered designs, whatever the evil or good ones that you can find, it couldn't make it the final destination for the you people. Words like the particle, master, the graphic, hieroglyphics, scientific for the predictive of the only heavily scanned transcripts that's fitting for the some contingents. Call it that, the counter for the spaceship or whatever the planet even. More advantages for your source of the high classification for your data, for the possibilities, for the overthrown, we get all for the intimate, especially for the tuning existence and the words that are like the part of the name. The fridge and hums a quiet warning as you remember your footsteps in the dappling of the sunlight for which you remain. Behold, abandoned, such is life, and I had been cold enough to walk down the crooked cove for the silence of the story, for the never told, for the night back, stars out of line. Glass ceiling and the fears you don't feel become invitations for the grueling of asking someone to stay. And returning to yourself. The warmth of the sunlight after the shivering in the desolate cave. The sight of life and visible and invisible voice that echoed and ready to roar. The line of the truth, the greed for the enticement, the undesired, unknown, the envy, joy to the bone, the wrath of the blind eye consumes the heart. Lost whisper the rest of the band of decline, for the gluttony, for the feasting, for forgetting time, for the burning of the fast, and the fleeting flame, for the seven shadows of the hunting of the day. The unseen horror for cursed edges of the night, for the silence of thinking your breath and not your own. The walls lean near every step that the multiplies dark, vanishing act for the quiet, quieter, when even the walls stop listening for the ceiling that doesn't judge me. Your voices talking to each other, for the none of them makes sense. This is for the half of this and not, it doesn't matter anymore. For the whisper of the mistakes back to you, for the only voice screams back, and this is sign up for you, for the old regrets, for forgetting how to breathe, for this advantage, for how to survive, for the noise and the stare of the trees, and never the stare of the water, for the secret of fire, for the pretending of the flames, and the demons inside of your chest, and this arguing with yourself. Voice within, never be without. Another lies for the tribe, for another, for the untitled. Every day for the you find price of the believe. Possessed for the humankind, for the present, for the coexisting, for the echoes of the hunting at every step of this is all. Fragments of heaven, for the heaven and one to claim, for the only broad life and the slip of the hands and the life of his children, for the live of the passing through for the curse, carrying over the outliving of the knowing of the save our souls and the hidden for the truth, for the find the day, for the time, for the coming, for the scripts of the bread, for the bringing throughout the lands of the sun, for the discipline of the moon, for the working of the one, for the earth, for the returning of the land, for the side of you, for the knowledge of loss, the high to climb inside of yourself, for the big pain that will cost us we walk. Mirrors trapped, cage fuel for the burden, exhausted, the known, the unknown, the end of the day, fear for the inner self, for the sitting with the everyday, for the this to be the wrong undone, look at the sea for the what you see, and now for the drowning, for the right, for the green, for the each person, for the strolling of the green, for the blue planet, for the flapping, for the final poke, wait, she was the winter wind for the sinking through my thoughts, tender, sting. Breaking up the art, deadly apart from the making this finest dream. Endless and there's nothing good for this got to be. A piece of cake for never to been eaten for the Sunday night thought. Trust, sideway compass over your daylight, tell the room. Quiet, honest, leave, nothing, heavy. You're a perfect narcissist. This to make the work to find the version of yourself, not Dave for the born ones. Soul stick here for the choking on it, for the underneath, for the butterscotch and the lies, and something surprisingly similar for the hope of the hopes of this to find and neglect me for the not forget. Beautiful before the time that you got me, for the entitling stars resembling over the eternal thing, for the remembering over the reinstating over what you find the recipes. Planted a tree without the natural thief. The thing to find a look for this not at all that you were. It's a matter for the breaking into the rhythm, for the seeding over the tears and the trapped in yourself, for the energy to realistic. Realize the time to find the transit is release. Blueprints of this feet, slapping at the tiles of the laughter stitch for you. Both of us the critique. Never the picture for the healing, for the tilting sleep against that shoulder, for the breathing of the time, for the keep yourself with the time and with. Folding into each other, for the souls that be melted, for the what to mingling over the merging, over the invisible, for enough to be summoned. Thresholds of the heart, word with so many uncentered desires, for never the evil or good ones that you can find and couldn't make it the final destination for the you can be. Words like the part, the master, the grafted, the graphic, hieroglyphic, scientific, for the predictive, for the only heavenly grand transcripts, this visit for the some contingents. Call it that, or the counter for the spaceship, or whatever the planet even, for the more advantage for your source of the high classification for your data, for the possibilities, for the overthrown, we get all, for the intimate expression, for the tooling existence, and the words that are like the part of the name. fridge hums a quiet warning into the remembering of footsteps of the dappling of the sunlight for what you remain. Behold abandoned, such as life it had been. Cold enough to walk down the crooked cold for the silence of the story for the never told for the night back. Stars out of line on the glass ceiling and the fears where they don't feel become limitations for the ruling of the asking someone to stay. And the returning to yourself. And the warmth of the sunlight after the shivering in the desolate cave with the sight for the life of this be the invisible voice that echoed and ready to roar. With the line of the truth, with the grief and the enticing and the undesired, unknown, envy, joy to the bone, for the wrath of the blind eye consumes the heart. And the sloths whisper the rest of the bandit decline for the gluttony, for the feasting of the forgetting time, for the burning of the fast, for the fleeting flame, for the seven shadows of the hunting in my name. And unseen horror for cursed edges of the night, for the silence that thicken your breath and not your own. Walls lean near every step, but the multiplies dark. With a vanishing act for the quiet, quieter. When even the walls stop listening for the ceiling that doesn't judge me, and a million voices talking to each other for the none of them makes sense. This is for the half that this is not, it doesn't matter for anymore. For the whispered mistakes back to you, for the only voice screams back for this to sign up for you, for the own regrets, for the forgetting how to breathe, for this to vanish. Or how to survive for the noise of the stare with the trees and never the stare of the water, for this to be the fire, for the pretending of the flames of the demons inside of your chest, for this to argue with yourself. And the voice within. Never be without. Another last for the tribe, for another, for the untitled. Reading every day for the youth we find, the price of the glebe. Possessed for the humankind, for the present, for the coexisting, and for the echoes of the hunting at every step, but this is all. Fragments of heaven, for this heaven and one to claim, for the only broad life that slips through the hands, and the life that is truly one to live, for the passing through, for the question, carrying over the outliving of me. For the knowing of the save our souls of the heaven, for the truth, for this to find the day, for the time, for the comes, for the scripts of the red, and what's for the ring throughout the lands of the sun, for the this will be the moon, for the merging of the one, for the earth, for the returning to none, for the innocent eye of you, for the knowledge of the lost. The higher the climb and sound of yourself, for the big pain will cost. This will we walk. Mirrors trapped at the cage, fuel for the burnt exhaust, and the knowing and the unknown, the end of the day, and the fear for the inner self, for the sitting with it every day, for the this to be the raw undone. Look at the sea for them what you see, or now for the drowning, for the ripe, for the rip, for the room, for the each person, for the strolling of the green, for the blue planet, for the flapping of the for the finer poke. Ten way that she was the winter wind for the sinking through my thoughts. Tender sting, or the breaking up the art, but the deadly apart for the waking, this find a sleep dream. Endless, and there's nothing good for this got to be a piece of cake for never to been eaten for the Sunday night thoughts. Trust, sideways compass over your daylight, tell the room, quiet, honest, leaves, nothing, heavy, you're perfect. Narcissist, this the way to work to find the version of yourself, not to hate for the warm winds. Solo stick here for the choking on it, for the underneath for the butterscotch and the lies of the something surprisingly similar for the hopes of this to find it neglect me for the not forget. Beautiful before the time that you got me, for the entitled stars resembling over the eternal thing, for the remembering over the reinstating over the what you find the best least. Planted a tree without the natural thieves. Fiend to find a whip for this not alone for that you were. It's a matter for the breaking into the rhythm for the seething over the tears and entrapped yourself for the energy to realistic for realize the time to find the trance of this release. Blueprints of this feet, slapping of the tiles for the laughter stitch for you. Both of us a critique. Never the picture for the healing of it, the tilting sleep against that shoulder for the breathing of the time for the keep yourself with the time with. Folding into each other for the souls to be melted, for the what you're mingling over the merging over the invisible for the enough to be summoned to.